Hello and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before anything went on, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature podcast. Nathan, I was at my local park the other day and saw a lady getting mugged,
Oh, cool.
and I
Awesome.
I I went over and just beat up all the muggers myself,
Mm.
and just I looked like totally cool doing it.
Oh,
And
and everyone clapped.
yeah, everyone clapped. And then the lady afterwards, like, oh, thank you so much. She said, but you know what I'm even more thankful for? The Patreon over a Drive and Double Feature podcast.
Hmm.
And it's just like they got some fun games, some fun conversations, just a good old time over there. And I said, oh, well, you could have thanked me a little better, about this, what I just did for you. And she said, well, I want to make sure that Nathan and Ryan know how much we appreciate them instead. And I said, I think they know.
I think they know. Yeah, I mean, I like to think that her Patreon money went for your karate lesson, so you could beat up all the buggers.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
But anyway, today we are talking about 1971's Little Murders, which is directed by Alan Arkin. I didn't know he directed a movie before, but this is
His directorial
his
debut,
hit.
right?
Uh, did he do? Yeah. I didn't look to see how many other movies he did,
Yeah,
but
actually, I'm interested. I didn't see what else he did.
anyway, this movie is kind of set. It's a really weird type of universe this movie is kind of set in because it's almost like what I kind of was thinking of. It kind of reminded me of like RoboCop, or like everybody, like this whole town is just like crime has just totally ran amok in this crowd, like in this town,
Hmm.
and it's just it's just a bunch of weird people just kind of living. It's like a comedy set in like RoboCop, basically, which has like nothing to do with the fact.
Yeah, it's so subtle about like the crime-ridden world it lives in. Like it's almost like
Uh,
I mean, they talk about how people are just getting beat up in the park and all that, and people just randomly get shot. But like you'll forget about that part of the world, and then and then it'll just like come back in. It's very odd. I mean, it makes for a very odd movie. Now, it reminded me a lot of Hi Mom. It kind of has the same vibe to me.
yeah, you say that, and that does make a lot of sense
Yeah.
because this movie doesn't have a strong plot to it. So it was very kind of, I really wasn't sure which direction this movie was going in.
Hmm.
So kind of how this movie starts, like, there's the main girl, Patsy, she wakes up and she goes out to a park. Well, but before, like, she has like this pervert basically like calling her and just like breathing heavily into the phone. And she's like, just stop calling here. And that's like a
Hmm.
running gag throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it
And
comes up a lot. Oh, and we should say Patsy is just basically a ripoff of Liza Minnelli. That's like all like she's like cheap Liza Minnelli. That's what I got from her.
she looks just like Liza Minnelli did, like
Yeah.
during that time period. And she goes out to the park and she sees Elliott Gould's character getting assaulted, and
Hmm.
she kind of goes over there and she's just like, hey, stop it. And then like the muggers kind of like turn their attention to her, and then they start like assaulting her like physically. And then
Hmm.
Elliot Gould just kind of just slinks away, just being like, oh, like I'm away from that whole mess, and just leaves her there to getting like assaulted.
Yeah, it's and that's how and she like even complains about it to him, like 'cause she catches up to him and is like, "Hey, why didn't you save me?" But Elliot Gould is just so like apathetic. That's like his character arc or his sorry, his personality trait is that he just could care less about anything.
Well, yeah, that's his main deal, is that he's just not very passionate about a lot of things, and
Hmm.
you can kind of tell he's just kind of over it, like for a lot of the world. And because we get that part, and he she's like, why'd you let me get beat up? He's like, they were getting tired. They would have left me alone. You came over there and you riled them all up again. They got mad, so I left. And it's like,
Yeah, and I liked his explanation of like, I could have they asked what I was doing, and I could have said one thing, they would have beaten me up. If I said another thing, I would have been beaten up. And then I told
If
them
I
a
didn't
different
do
thing.
anything,
I
if I
would have
didn't do anything, they'd still beaten me up.
Yeah, so it's just like he just has a very nihilistic look at the world, which, it's opposites attract kind of deals the way I would take it, because Patsy is like his complete opposite, but she is like
Yeah.
infatuated with the man. It's really the pace of this movie is interesting. I kind of dug it a little bit, where like the love story is so fast in this movie. Like I think it's like 10 minutes and they are already in like this deep romance. Well, she's in a deep romance. He says like, "Oh, I can tolerate you. Well, I can just almost call you a friend." That's like it, but that's like
And
love to him. Like that's like the best thing you could hear from him.
yeah, he's basically just like it's funny like how much he's just not into this whole thing. Like he's okay with her, but he's
Yeah.
just like he's just kind of like meh like the during like the whole time where
Hmm.
because there's like a scene where like they start kissing and things kind of start leading towards like they might have sex
Hmm.
and she's like, well, don't you want to do anything? He's like, no, I'm good. He's like, well, why not? He's like, just don't feel like it. Like,
Yeah. And then he's like, "I'll tell
he
you when
just,
I feel like it."
yeah, he just leaves.
Yeah. Uh Man, it's a role Elliott Gould is born to play. I'll say that. Like he it's a role I've seen before.
Yeah, I actually like, I do like Elliott Gould in this movie. And
Yeah, yeah.
he's a very funny character because he's just so like blah about everything.
Hmm.
And eventually, their romance kind of starts picking up a little bit to the point where Patsy is like, I am so madly in love with you, but the way you are like really frustrates me because I want you to be a lot more passionate about stuff. I want you to care about
Hmm.
more stuff. So I'm pretty much gonna, it's like such a toxic romance. She's like, I'm going to mold you into the man that I want you to be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna fix you. I can fix him. Kind of
Yeah,
deal.
exactly.
And so, like, from there, we get to the part where he visits the family, which becomes a very central
Hmm.
core part of this movie. I actually thought that was going to be the rest of the movie. I thought it was going to be him dealing with the family and like the dinner party. But no, it goes from there, but it is long. So you get introduced to the family, which is like this mom who's just kind of she's not the weirdest one of the bunch, but she has her moments. The dad is like super high strung. His name is Carol and can't stand when anybody calls him Carol. And then
Played by Vincent Gardenia.
yeah, and then the little brother who is who is a little too close to his sister.
Well,
But
I they start.
also but go ahead.
Well, no, you go ahead.
But also he talks about how much he hates gays the whole movie, and that kind of becomes a part of the movie that he is closeted, which I think is is interesting.
I well, yeah. So I can't tell you. So I watched we watched I watched this movie and Things to Come as like a double feature, like back to back, and like, oh my God, you can't believe like how like dead the room is like when
Really?
you're what like
I could imagine with a group this movie
uh,
probably didn't like go over
it-
well.
uh, no. So this one I'm jumping the gun a little ahead, but I didn't mind this movie. I thought it was it's not an amazing movie, but I did like a lot of the little funnier moments in this movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, because when we get to like the dinner scene, it's just there's some really funny moments where like the breathing guy apparently knows like Patsy's parents' number, and he picked like the guy's breathing into the phone, and then her dad picks up. He's like, "In my day, we didn't have phones to breathe into."
Yeah, that was funny. No, I mean, honestly, I laughed quite a bit during this movie. I liked this movie quite a bit. Maybe I'm just a Gould head. I don't know.
No, I
Yeah,
liked it. I did
yeah,
like the movie.
yeah. But there's like moments like that are really funny, or like it just the whole how neurotic that family is. Just because this movie is full of like just weird jokes that make no sense, but that's part of its world. It just kind of doesn't make sense. It starts to, but like how the power just goes down constantly in their home, and it's like it's not a big deal. like they're still eating dinner and all the lights are off in the home and stuff like that. It's just like very oddly put together.
I like the scene too where they're sitting on the couch and the mom is like showing pictures of the photo album to Elliott Gould of like their family members. He's like, "Oh, here he is in his baseball outfit." He's like, "He's very handsome in his uniform."
And
And
he's
it's like,
not
"And
even
here he is in
looking
his
at it.
yeah, it's like here he is in his naval outfit. He's very handsome in his uniform." Just-
Yeah. And then eventually she's like, oh, it gets brought up that he died. And then they all have a conversation in like his old bedroom about him. Oh, I love the bit. It's like small bits like when he's showing the photo album, the little brother, Elliot Gould has maybe a sliver, a little crack on the couch next to him, and the little
yeah,
brother just slips right in there, just squeezes himself into that little crack on the couch. Um,
he's very the brother is very odd because there's a lot of moments where he's just nonverbal. He'll just be like like he'll just be making like mouth noises for
yeah,
like no reason.
there's like one bit where he's just laughing at his dad and he just like falls like straight on the ground. Like I'm not talking like it's not like rolling on the ground laughing. He just like falls on the ground. But it's an insane night. You can tell Elliot Gould was not into it at all. And he kind of makes an ass of himself because they ask him about his photography job and he's like, "Oh, I take pictures of shit." And it's award-winning shit and stuff like that. And
It's literal pieces of shit. I would like
yes.
to.
Yeah, it's actual shit. But of course, after that, like you said, she's like, you know what? We're getting married. It's happening. We're gonna get married because you won't fight me. And that's one weird bit of the movie. There's like a huge monologue from the original judge that they plan on marrying them about the sanctity of marriage and like because he's an
It had nothing
atheist.
to do with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it did have a funny gag because they were complaining, he's complaining about them not using the word God in marriage. And then he moves to the courtroom, and Elliot Gould and Patsy, what is Elliot Gould's character's name in this movie?
Alfred.
Alfred. Alfred and Patsy are like, huh? They're like confused, and they walk to the courtroom, and it goes so long that the courtroom is empty, and by the end of it, it's in a full courtroom, like the proceedings have
Right.
started. But they end up getting. I'm surprised Donald Sutherland plays such a small bit in this movie, but yeah, Donald Sutherland shows up to be the priest at the wedding.
Yeah, and there's a very funny gag in there too where Vincent Gardenia is like going up to like a bunch of different people. He's like, I gave the pastor $250 to mention God because,
Mhm.
Ellie Gould is just like adamant, like I don't want God mentioned in this sermon. And
Yeah.
and he just like goes in there and just like it's like, yeah, I paid him $250. And then basically like Donald Sutherland's basically just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna just keep the money and not talk about God.
Yeah, that's what he tells Elliot Gould, and I thought that was really funny. And I like Donald Sutherland because he gets a really there's so many monologues in this movie. But yeah, he gets a long
Hmm.
monologue about his opinions on marriage, and he says like, I've done over 200 marriages and only 7 of them work. So who knows if this one will last? Most
And the
likely
odds are
not.
not the odds are not very good.
Yeah, and he just is
That was funny.
yeah, that was funny. And he's like giving them their vows, and he's like, you don't seem like the type of girl to obey, so we're gonna change that. I looked in my thesaurus, and it's like, are you gonna tolerate him? Are you gonna are you gonna deal with his affairs? And yeah, so there's the long marriage scene, and they end up they get married. And maybe this is where I feel like the movie loses track a little bit because it goes into like her trying to change him, and there's like this really long scene of him interviewing his parents, his actual parents.
Yeah, and there was like a whole thing where so this movie was originally a play,
Oh, okay.
and you can kind of tell, at least by like the setting of it. It makes a lot more sense once you hear that because it's a
Yeah.
lot of like monologues and it's a lot of people like on like one set and like not a ton of different locations.
Yeah.
So makes sense. And this part right here where Elliot Gould goes to like interview his parents because they ask him about his parents and they're like, well, where do your parents live? He's like, Chicago, I think. And he's like, are they alive? Are they well? He's like, I don't know, like it just very much just like just doesn't know, doesn't care to know. And then like when he shows up to his parents, they're pretty much just like you could see why he's like that because they're very much just like they're trying to describe like they have like really weird conversations about like Tina stuff, I think, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like
they're very analytical, like psychology, where it's like, oh, I think they're he talks about like, oh, what was my potty training like? And she's like, oh, well, it was really hard for all young boys because they have fear castration and stuff like that. And they're like over analyzing their childhood. Like it's very cold. And he says that he doesn't have any memories past 19. And I guess it starts to
mhm.
become a little sad because maybe he's starting to actually connect the pieces as to why he's feeling the way he is. Um, and God, this movie gets really dark, where Patsy, who's like the brightest character in this movie, just gets killed. She's just murdered in the night, and Elliott Gould's there.
But- well, because it's a very big moment before that because
Yeah,
she's still very frustrated with Elliot Gould not taking things too seriously,
yeah,
and she's basically just like I'm so sick of you being like this, and Elliot Gould's finally like, okay, well, if you want me to be this man, I'll do it. Like I will start being somebody that fights for things and
hmm,
that I fight back and I'll be a lot more passionate. And they kind of have this very loving embrace. And in that embrace, she just gets hit by this sniper rifle like into their house. Like somebody just shoots
yeah.
right into their bedroom and kills her for no reason at all.
No reason, just a random killing, and Elliott Gould just like roams the street. He becomes comatose for a good, like pretty much almost the rest
Hmm.
of this movie. Just walks around, doesn't talk, just a totally broken, depressed man. What was pretty much a funny movie decides to not be a funny movie anymore.
He becomes comatose pretty much where he has to like you know,
He's getting
he
dressed.
walks around he has to get dressed by like Patsy's parents and like they have to like feed him by hand and
Mhm.
everything because he just sits there and just stares at stuff.
Yeah,
And
and then Alan Arkin makes his appearance in the movie as a detective trying to figure out the murders, but he's just like, it's all random. It's random. I can't solve it because every murder doesn't connect to each other. Um,
yeah, and he's very much like an oddball too because they try to give him like cheese and he's just like, what is that, sharp cheddar? I can't eat that stuff. Like,
yeah, yeah, and they give him like milk with ice, and he's like, I want one cube. Come on, you know this. I don't know. It's just silly. Um, yeah, but
yeah,
uh, the ending. How did you feel about this ending? I maybe I just didn't get it.
I I didn't either. So this movie kind of has like a little bit of a fake out to me.
Hmm.
And because they do a scene where like Elliot Gould goes out to the park and he kind of sits there and he's just like, he was still kind of like in the stupor and then he kind of starts breaking out of it.
Hmm.
And the movie kind of picks up in this really cheerful type of music. He kind of goes back to taking photos and
Hmm.
everything. And so I thought like, okay, like he's either reverting back or or at least he's okay with the fact that his wife is dead.
Hmm.
But they don't, but that's not where the movie ends. Like I said, I thought that's where it was going to end.
Same here.
But then, at the end, he shows up to the house with the gun. He shows up to her house, her parents' house with a gun, and like her and her brother like him and her brother are trying to like load the gun, and they can't do it. They don't know how to.
Hmm.
So then Vincent Gardenia has to come over and like, no, you do it like this. And then afterwards, they just take the gun and they just start shooting random people like out in the street.
Yeah, they start kill. They open the window, and the dad just kills someone. The little brother misses, and they're like, "Oh!" Like the dad's like disappointed that he misses somebody, but they end up killing someone, and they all kills. They end up killing one person on the street, and they just start celebrating, like they're just
Well,
so
no,
happy.
and then they said they killed Alan Arkin's character.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, I think that was Lieutenant Practice, and they're just like, hey,
which
they're
is
just like
funny because
celebrating
he
like it's
was
a
a
big,
family friend.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's dark. It's very, very darkly funny. And it feels like it's trying to say something. I was like, I maybe I just don't connect with it. In 1971, it definitely feel. I will say, it definitely feels like a joke or an ending where like our main characters, family, and the family all kill people randomly on the streets. Might not be a plot line that would be that we'd follow nowadays.
No,
There's something
probably
about it
not.
that's
No.
really shocking. Um, Especially because they're all happy and it seems like life works out, right? Because they go to the table
Mhm.
and the mom's like, you know what? I didn't think my boys would ever smile again. And it ends on a freeze frame. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it's a very sitcom type of ending.
yeah, so it's like
Eh.
it adds to the weird energy that this movie has.
Though, I mean, that's one thing I really love about movies from the 70s. It's just like they would
Yeah.
just make like weird movies like that. No, yeah, I really love movies from the 70s because they would just take chances like this. And you're just like, oh, let's just take like a big name actor, just make like a totally like off the wall movie like this.
Yeah, that's why it reminds me of Hi Mom, where it tackles just really dark themes, does random wacky stuff, and just does a weird plot line. It's very loose, silly, and I kind of like that. It's kind of daring. I definitely liked it better than I did Hi Mom. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
this one at least had some funny moments in there that we both enjoyed.
exactly. Yeah, and I enjoyed the performances. There's something here that's actually quite enjoyable. I don't think it's amazing. There's some
No,
bits that don't click, but I think overall, like it was a fun watch. I thought it was a very interesting movie at the time.
I totally agree. I really liked the some of the monologues were a little too much
Yes, a
sometimes,
little long.
but I will say like they at least had some good punchlines in there that kept me interested in there. But and like I said, I thought Elliott Gould they gave a good performance, and then Donald Sutherland, and pretty much all the main players gave decent performances.
Mhm.
So like I said too, I totally agreed. Nothing amazing, but it's an interesting watch if you ever want something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's why I can easily I can recommend it if you need something a little different.
Absolutely. But I think that's going to do it for this week, Nathan. So, what are we going to be talking about next time?
All right. Well, Ryan, we are going Kino. Okay, we're doing some Kino here. We're going to be talking about Stanley Kubrick's The Killing, which is streaming on Prime and Criterion, which you've never seen it, have you?
I think I have,
Okay,
maybe.
never mind.
No, we're doing it. Can't do
Okay.
that. I
Uh,
tried to do that last time. You wouldn't let me.
okay, then we won't. We won't. All right, so we're doing The Killing. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Oh, Nathan, I didn't realize you're picking Stanley Kubrick. This is going to be Kino week, Nathan.
Oh, really? Don't tell me you're picking The Shining.
No, Nathan. We're not
Oh.
Nathan. We're going to be doing a Robert Altman movie
Wow,
with
we really are
Stanley
doing
Kubrick.
Kino Week.
Yes, Nathan. We're going to be doing California Split, which is on Criterion Channel right now.
So, well, I'm excited for that.
But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us over at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast. But until next time.
Until next time.